Hey, and welcome back to another video here with the Westman Regional Soccer Association with Technical Director Jesse. And today we have Kirsten Sorovi from Minnedosa with us. How are you doing, Kirsten?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. It feels weird calling you Kirsten again, so I'm just going to go with Kirk for the rest of the interview, as everyone else calls you that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Kirk, why don't you, for everyone else, tell us a little about yourself and obviously, I said you live in Minnedosa, but kind of expand on that and kind of the pathway that you've taken from when you began soccer to now.
So I'm 22 years old. I'm from Minnedosa, Manitoba. I was originally born actually out in BC. My parents were living out there, but we moved back to Minnedosa. Both my parents are from around the area when I was about 2. So I have one older sister. She's quite athletic as well. Grew up playing soccer among a lot of sports, just like me. Both of us grew up very involved students. We were involved in lots of volunteer groups, student councils, yearbooks in school. We were those busy kids that never really sat still. We're always doing something in town. I was also very involved in athletics, so not just soccer. Growing up, I figure skated competitively until I was 14 years old out of Skate Brandon. I also played volleyball, basketball, I did curling, I did a bit of track, pretty much anything to stay active I was interested in. So with soccer, having an older sibling, I think as any younger sibling can speak to, you kind of get thrown into whatever their interests are. So from as long as I can remember, I was kicking the ball around in the backyard with my sister and my dad, and it was just always an interest, always something that we did just as a hobby in the family. So then as I got older and I was able to join the house league in Minnedosa, I did at about age 5, and that was co-ed, and I think I played in that until about age 8, and then we could join the BYSA, so Brandon Youth Soccer Association League, is what was set up when I was a kid. So I joined the Minnedosa team in the U10, and I played in that league until U14. So there was the first time that we split into girls and boys, which is really great that we have that available rurally, that we don't have to play co-ed if you don't want to, if you would like to. So as with many rural sports programs, there's kind of a lack of coaches lots of times. So I was fortunate enough, or unfortunate enough, depending on how you look at it, that my dad was actually one of the coaches. So my dad, Ken, coached me from about when I was probably 6 or 7 till about 14. So that definitely shaped me partly into who I am as a player. Just having your parent as a coach, I think it does kind of affect how you are. Just your determination and your work ethic and practice is a little bit different. Just having a different role, as much as you don't want it to be a different role, it is. So yeah, just having that, I was always super involved in the soccer program with my dad. As I got older, when I was in high school, I joined the high school team. So we don't make cuts there, but they do make cuts for the provincial team. So in grade 9, I made the provincial team, and we went to rural provincials, and we actually won that year, which is still one of my biggest soccer accomplishments. I still am really proud, and that was a really happy memory. Just before that, joining high school soccer, when I was about 11 years old, I started going to the Peace Gardens soccer camps. So I went there for, I think, 6 weeks in total over 5 years. There was a group of kids from Minnedosa that we all went together, and it was an awesome camp. It was a week of summer. Did about 8 hours of soccer a day, which was a lot. You were definitely burnt out and tired by the end of it, but a ton of fun and a great way to develop skills. So yeah, then I played soccer with MCI for 4 years. I took 1 year off when I was 18 during my first year of university. I was working and I was in university and I was commuting, and I just wasn't sure how I was going to balance everything. Being a nursing student, it's a competitive program to get into. And then I even took that summer off of rec league, and then the following year I joined back in with the Minnedosa rec league ladies team. And one of the Bobcats, Amy Kingdon, she had formerly played on the women's team. I was playing with her in the summer. We were both from Minnedosa. She finally convinced me to come to the tryouts for Bobcats, so I ended up coming in my second year of university and trying out, and I played for the Bobcats for 4 years after that. So I played for the Bobcats during the school year and the Minnedosa Lakers in the summer, and then this summer in the women's league, I'm going to be playing for the Snipers instead. I'm going to switch it up a bit. So kind of my soccer career.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So You said you moved to Minnedosa pretty young, because you said you started playing about 5 years old there. So what was it like being able to play, within your community, and not having to travel and not having to drive, and you did it for so long, obviously. So playing with your friends you went to school with, all that kind of stuff. How was that?
It was great. It was an experience. I think rural kids that have the opportunity, that like we're very thankful and for it. Like we recognize it's a very special thing. Um, Minnedosa has always had a since I've been here anyways, a super strong and well-developed soccer program, largely in part, I think, to the Smith family in Minnedosa, as well as the McNabbs. There's a lot of families that have kind of came together and banded the community. And soccer's just been one of those programs that there was never a doubt it was coming back. There was always going to be interest, and we always knew we'd have the numbers, which for a smaller town with a sport that has a larger roster, that's really great that we can do that. It was really great growing up and getting to play with the same girls like that too. You play a different way when you've played with the same group of girls for 10 years. So that was really special as well. And getting to play with my sister as well was really great. And just with the whole not commuting thing, from someone who's commuted for 5 years of university, and before that I commuted to Brandon for figure skating for about 5 years, like 5 to 6 days a week. So I'm no stranger to Highway 10 and that 30-minute drive to Brandon. I do it all the time. I have done it, but having those programs available locally in Minnedosa as a kid, it was just, they're so much more accessible to everyone. You don't have to worry about rides. You don't have to worry about money. You don't have to worry about, when soccer is down at the school at 6 p.m., you can just walk down. And it's great that it's such a great activity to get the whole community involved.
Awesome. So yeah, I agree. So there, like you mentioned, there's many families in Minnedosa that I think have really contributed to that, and some of the ones you mentioned, the McNabbs, the Smiths, obviously the Barretts, some of those ones that have been tremendous. And I think a big thing I notice in Minnedosa too is, as you mentioned, with the women's league team, they've had a men's men's team for a number of years, and just a lot of them coach, right? A lot of them give back and have been brought up in that, and so they do it as well. And I think it just makes a massive difference within the community. But just quickly, what are your thoughts on, having played women's rec there for a number of years after youth, and how special is it for a community of that size to be able to offer programming for especially the girls and the women from 3 years old to senior? Because the men's doesn't have a sanctioned league right now, but the women's does, and Minnedosa takes advantage of that.
Yeah, it's really special. And it's even more special that Minnedosa has so much interest with our senior women's for such a small community. We actually have 2 teams, which I think is really incredible, because most of the other rural towns around us that are around our size, they only have the 1 team, and most of them only play once a week because of the amount of interest they have. And we have the interest that we have 2 teams, 1 team that plays twice a week and 1 team that just plays once a week. That's a
Awesome.
little more recreational. So I think it's, especially having those 2 teams in Minnedosa for the senior women's, it's really important, because we do get those women who are, closer to high school age, maybe a bit younger, and are still at that really competitive level. But we do also have that, the more recreational team for women who maybe haven't played soccer in 10 years and just want to
For
come
sure.
out, run around and kick a ball around. And I mean, that looks great. Their kids watching their mom out there playing a sport, and they're out there playing a sport with their mom after the game. So it's a great way to get everyone.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So kind of leading into the next part there, Kirk, you've started to do a bit of coaching, or more coaching, and last summer, 2019, I guess that was, you did the summer student job with WRSA, and you were the summer camp coordinator, ran the summer camps around the region. And what made you want to do that, and what did you enjoy most about doing that?
It was definitely a shock for me to take that job. Previously, my summer jobs, I had only worked in care homes, actually. So I was on the totally opposite side of the spectrum. I loved my, geriatrics. I loved the old people and going in and that environment. So actually, you kind of convinced me to take the job. It was my last summer job before I was going to graduate and start my career. So I easily was convinced that you said, you're playing soccer with kids all summer. And honestly, that's kind of what the job is. There's more to it, obviously, and like coaching isn't quite as simple as that, but it was you know, the kids are amazing. They're so energetic and they're always positive, and I love the way they think, because they think in such a different way than we do as adults, and just seeing how their ideas jump from one area to another is always so interesting. And it was a blast. It was like I got to play a sport I love with a ton of fun people all summer, and you know, develop my leadership and my communication skills, while also helping develop like fundamental, not only like, you know, technical skills that you hope to gain and athletic skills, but also like you don't realize how much sports go to developing people, as who they are as humans. And I think that was, you know, watching kids share and like learning stuff like that is just as exciting as watching the kids score the goal. So
Awesome. So no chance of getting you back this summer?
No, I might need a little bit of a raise.
So what are kind of some of the biggest changes you've noticed from the youth soccer in the region from when you played many years ago to now?
My perspective, just how I'm looking, and you know, looking back, I was looking at it as a player, and now I'm looking at it as more of a coach or a volunteer. What I do notice though is I think, you know, there's still the same sense of community in the youth programs. There's still that urge for them to continue on. And I think with the coaching is the thing I've seen the biggest difference in, from, you know, my dad being my coach growing up and doing his best, from watching him read the soccer tactical books he checked out from the library and doing his best
Sure.
to help drills. Like now the resources coaches have and the support they have because of technology is just endless. Like the opportunities coaches have to develop their skills, which can so, you know, directly be translated into player skills and how players like their sport. Like I think that's the biggest difference I see, is the creativity and how sessions are ran, and the thought process behind it. And yeah, like just the coaching and the availability, I guess, of resources for coaches, I feel is a lot more accessible now. And you see it in the quality of the coaches you get. It's not just, you know, Ken out there doing his best, having fun and telling us, you know, get back and cover your man. It's people who are actually, you know, parents and volunteers who are learning the sport and learning to coach along with the kids. And I think that's really great.
Awesome. Kirk, before we wrap up here, is there anything I kind of missed asking or that we didn't get to that you'd like to add?
Not that I can think of.
No? Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and looking forward to you know, keep seeing you around and coaching and in the women's league and in hospitals and working in the communities as well. So I think that's something that all your coaches will be excited for as well, is when they've coached you and seen you, you know, play in a different pathway and continue to play in the women's league and continue enjoying it for life, I think is pretty special. So I'll sign you up to be a coach and
Sounds
but
good.
thanks for taking the time.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.